Today we're going to have a bit of a chat about what it costs to own an airplane. I've got a book here because otherwise I'm seriously going to forget half the things. Before we get to that, I'm going to give you guys 2 or 3 minutes to maybe change to a different video. I'll link a different video up here in case you don't have your wife or your better half to see what it actually costs to own an airplane. I hope my wife doesn't see this video because sort of seeing it in the flesh does make it a bit hectic because owning an airplane can be expensive. And yes, there's freedom that comes with it, but there's a lot of considerations. So first consideration is the purchase price. That is sort of the biggest cost, is purchasing the airplane up front. And that's sort of the biggest capital outlay. And there's different ways of purchasing an airplane. You could go into a deal with a friend, or you could buy it on a loan. So there's different types of ways of going into an airplane. The purchase price of this airplane was around 200,000 Rand, which is like half the price of a Volkswagen Polo. So, I mean, it also depends on which aircraft you own. This is sort of on the cheaper side of airplanes. I think the catch that caught me out is I bought the airplane and then I had all these massive crazy ideas of making it really cool. So I ended up putting a different engine in, different avionics, strobe lights, like STOL kits, bigger tires, different wheels, other brakes. And that's where it caught me. So I probably got about double that into my airplane. And sure, aircraft do appreciate. So that is definitely something to look into or sort of know. This aircraft do appreciate, and yes, there's different ways of saying it appreciates because you purchase it for one price year over year, they do appreciate, but you're still paying hangarage and fixed costs. So operational costs, we need to chat about the operational costs, because operational costs, we have fuel, and we're at an airport, so sorry, there's a helicopter. We have fuel costs, which I've worked out per hour, which is around 28 Rand, which is between $1 and $2, because I use MoGas. Which is essentially unleaded, and yes, I can use avgas, which is a bit more expensive. And we might wait for the helicopter to pass first because it might be a bit loud. Okay, there we go. He's decided to switch off. So oil is oil filter. It's sort of the actual oil, the changing of the oil. And there's another airplane. I mean, including the oil and a bit of labor to sort of do the oil change. I'm looking at around 1,600 Rand a year, which is about 60 USD. And it depends if you do it every 50 hours or every 100 hours. There's a point where I do it every 50 hours. So with ballpark, it's not train smash. And then there's spark plugs, which is around 1,000 Rand an hour. So that's 50 USD, include a couple of consumables like some copper slip, or there's a special grease that you need to put on the spark plug when you install the spark plug. Assuming you fly 100 hours a year and we take all these costs into consideration, the fuel per hour, all that kind of thing, our running costs, we're looking just under 60,000, which is about $3,000 a year. So those are your operational costs. Right, next on the list is fixed costs. So let's jump into the fixed cost. This hangarage is a fixed cost because you need to pay it every month on a 12-month basis, on a 12-month contract essentially. Hangarage is around 3,500 Rand a month, which is on the expensive side, and like I'm paying a premium here, and yeah, different story. That's about 175 USD per month times by 12. Next is insurance. Insurance is 1,100 Rand a month, give or take, depending on the aircraft you own, the type of flying you do. And if people that fly that aircraft have lots of accidents, your insurance cost goes up. So insurance is about 1,100 Rand a year, depending on who you insure with and what your insurance package looks like, which equates to about 55 USD per month, which is not bad versus what other people are paying. Then you have your subscription fees, so your subscriptions to like, maybe it's 4 flights or, Windy, Sky Demon, whatever it is. Then also there's like a yearly subscription that we need to pay with EAA or Aero Club or whatever, because we need to be part of an ARO. So let's bunch all those subscriptions and, yearly ones-off fees into one, and we'll go with a round number of around 5,000 Rand, which is about 250 USD. So then another fixed cost is your annual inspection. It needs to be inspected once a year, obviously because there's CAA requirements to that. So you need an authority to fly, which needs to be renewed. It needs an annual inspection. So you need someone to come out and go through your airplane and look at your airplane, essentially a service on the aircraft. So you could be anywhere between 5,000 and 30,000 Rand a year for that, which is anywhere between 250 USD and 1,500 USD, give or take, because something could go wrong and then it costs a lot of money. Like maybe you need to rebuild an engine, all kinds of things in there, so that's a consideration. Another consideration is this is an experimental aircraft. So it is a bit cheaper than a certified aircraft, because a certified aircraft you can't necessarily do any work on. It's a different maintenance schedule. Things are super expensive on those. This is on the cheap side to maintain. So if we take the fixed costs per year, we're looking at around 65,000 Rand, which is about $3,200 odd per year, assuming you fly 100 hours, that is. Which if you calculate that into hours, it's 625 Rand an hour, which is like, it's like $32 an hour, just if you had to take your fixed costs and sort of round them up to 100 hours over 12 months. Then another catch is your overhauls. Overhauls on these engines, sometimes it's better to buy a second-hand engine than buy a new engine or an overhaul engine. So there are people that do a rainy day fund, $50 an hour or whatever it is, depending on the owner and the aircraft that it is. Some people don't necessarily do that and accept that when something goes wrong, they need to fork out quite a bit of cash to get that fixed. And sure, fair enough, I had to replace an engine. So, you know, there are considerations. So if you don't put a couple of bucks away every month, then just, you know, you need to have a rainy day fund somewhere if something does go wrong. There's things like brake pads that need to be replaced. Maybe you need to replace a brake caliper. You know, maybe you need to replace a tire, depending on what tires you're flying and where you're operating. So if you're running big tires on tar, that's going to cost you a ton of money. So we try and land the gravel wherever we can. So if we take fixed costs and operational costs over 100 hours, is around 120,000 Rand. That is around 6,200 USD per year, which if you divide that into hours again, it's around like 1,250 Rand an hour, which is 61 USD an hour. So that's fixed costs, operational costs, all in, depending on if you've added your rainy day fund and what your rainy day fund looks like. So yes, owning an airplane is not cheap. Like, I'm not going to deny that fact. But there's a lot of freedom that comes with this. And there's sort of a breaking point where sometimes it's cheaper to own your aircraft than rent an aircraft from a flying school. So there we have it. It cost me 1,200, 1,300 Rand, 60 USD an hour to fly my airplane. That's, you know, hangar rent, all that kind of thing included. Whereas if you go and rent a similar aircraft from a flying school, you're looking at least 30, 40% more per hour. So, you know, there's that balance point. And yes, you can make the numbers look good for yourself, but it is expensive. I make a bit of extra cash on buying and selling some aircraft parts. Maybe a YouTube channel. If you have a YouTube channel, probably looking at around an extra 1,000 to 2,000 Rand a month, give or take, excluding equipment. So that's also maybe a consideration to throw into there. So yes, like and subscribe if you want to see more content, because it does cost money to put content out there, because you need Premiere Pro subscriptions, it's music subscriptions and all kinds of funky stuff like that. There's just some sort of freedom in owning an airplane that is unreal. Like, there's just this feeling, sometimes you open the hangar door, you walk in, you see the airplane, there's just like this feeling you can't explain. It's insane. And the thing is, if you rent an airplane and you want to go on a 5-day trip with a friend, like, you're in for a ton of money. And another consideration is there might be months where you don't fly because your airplane's broken or the weather's bad. You still need to pay hangar, you're still paying insurance. So, you know, there are sort of considerations into that. I did this pretty high level, so if there's anything you'd like me to go into a bit more detail, let me know down below. I'd also like to know what your experience is of owning an airplane, and if there's anything I missed. Maybe there's a consideration that we need to look into, or something that you've learned in owning an airplane that can help someone else out, so drop it down below. I'd be super interested, and thanks for watching. Like and subscribe to the channel, we've got a lot more content coming. So yeah, thanks for watching. Peace, guys.